Okay, we're going to be starting this meeting in just a couple minutes. We are talking about consistency in your AI and what you're going to be able to do to make it a little bit more consistent consistently. So that's what's going to be happening now. I'm going to be letting the mob in just a second. I just have to make a couple of little doodads here, as I like to say. Get this whole thing started. Got to get the whole thing recorded properly and all that fun stuff. Okay, we got that. Let's get the meeting started. Here comes the mob. Okay, welcome, folks. We're all starting to come on in here. Exciting stuff. Talking about consistency in your AI and what we could do to make it even more and more consistent. Greg's here. When Greg's here, we know it's a bitchin' disco time. Deneen is here. That's great. George, we love him. He's great. Good to see you, Jorge. That's great stuff. And we've got a bunch of people that are actually pouring in here. So let's let that get going. We're going to talk about the consistency throughout AI. We're going to be talking about various tools that are going on. As I like to say in these meetings, I am technology agnostic. I've always been technology agnostic. So what that really means is if you have if you say, well, wait a minute, I prefer Gemini over ChatGPT, that's great stuff. We love it. If you say, well, no, Gemini sucks, I want to use Grok, that's fine too. I want to hear from you what tools are popping up. Keep in mind, all of this is really, truly a work in progress, meaning it's really just going to be until next week when the newest tool comes out, which is why I think meetings like this are very important because you're going to be able to learn and find out what's going on with the latest tools. I'm going to be showing all of you stuff by example, meaning I'm going to show you how I'm using some of these tools. We're going to talk specifically today about, well, about several of them. Let me pull it up on my other screen here. One of them is Claude. As you know, as if anyone's been following these meetings, you know I really do like Claude and Claude Code and Claude projects. And now there's something called Claude Skills. Don't let the alphabet soup of all these names screw you up. That's not what this is about. If you really start with it, I want all of you to remember this. It is just a tool. You should try and reverse engineer how you like to work. If you reverse engineer about that and think, okay, here's a problem, what's going to be the solution? That's what we're really trying to come down to in these meetings. If you really try and think through what's going to be the true solution of how you operate. And I'm going to show you a few things today. One, we've got real estate people and non-real estate people alike here, and that's great. We love that. I'm going to show you what I'm doing with Claude now in skills to do CMAs, comparative market analysis, and how I've actually given it a skill, trained it in how I want it to respond, as well as the data within my community. Pretty important stuff. It's pretty good. I'm going to also show you my wife, as most of you know, is a professional organizer. So I'm going to show you how I created a skill within Claude to create invoices for her. I just merely drop in the hours and the days, and it will produce a perfectly formatted invoice for me. I also have, in that same skill, proposals. I want all of you to rip this off and duplicate it. People think R&D is research and development. Bullshit. It's rip off and duplicate. I didn't write that. I wish I did. But if you could stop and think through, what can I do? How could I borrow from these ideas to make it a little bit better, to be a little bit more efficient? That's really the idea behind all of this. So, just before we get started here, anyone familiar, anyone here using Claude? You could either hold your hand up if you're on screen or Greg, good. Dina, okay. Anyone, you could hold Aton Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. Welcome, Nicole. Good to see Nicole here. Marlene in Orlando. That's great. Zainab all the way down in Miami. Loving having all these folks in today. And Deneen in Newport Beach, California. And Deneen, I got to tell you, you get the prize for waking up the earliest all the time. You're the first to come, the last to leave, and you're great. So it's great having you here. Um, but okay, so we're going to go over just a few different tools that you should know about. Claude is one of them. ChatGPT has projects, as does Claude. I'm going to show you what that's all about. Again, my argument to most people that I speak to is that you're using AI the way most people use Google, which is fine, but there's just so much more that you could be doing if you use it a little bit differently. We're going to talk about spaces in perplexity. We're also going to talk about Google Notebook, and I think that that's going to be something that you should find pretty interesting as well. Google Notebook LM, you could literally take data, put it into that, and it will make a podcast for you of the data, a man and a woman talking about whatever tool, whatever content you put in there. I think you got a great opportunity to learn with this stuff. We got everyone lined up now. Let's get started. I just need to get my, what the heck is going on? Trying to get, don't adjust your television set. This is just Ed trying to figure out what the heck he's doing here. Um, Let me just see if I could get onto this. Sorry, guys. Talk among yourselves for a second. Okay. Okay. Always technical difficulties at the last moment. Okay, so let me just pull it up on the screen then, if that's going to be really the case. We're going to start with Claude, as I was saying before, and I'm going to take a little look here by sharing my screen here of what's going on with Claude. This is Claude. For those of you who don't know it, this should look pretty much like ChatGPT. Sorry, let me just do one other. There we go. This should look a lot like ChatGPT. And one of the things that we're going to focus on right now is, again, going in with the consistency are the features that you're going to see here in Claude. One of them is projects. Projects is exactly that. You're able to make it a repository for all the information that you may have. 17892 Hampshire Lane, that's a listing that Samantha and I had worked on, and Dina ultimately when the buyer came through her. And we had all the data about that particular project. Well, we didn't use it much, but we had a kickoff meeting and all the players were in the project here. And what you could do within the project is say something like, can you tell me, sorry, about 17892 Hampshire Lane? And because it's now focused just on the project itself, it's going to go ahead and iterate through whatever information I have. You can see it's gathering my thoughts. Um, and then it's going to produce a summary of what this property was all about. Okay, great. So what does that mean exactly? It means that we're able to lean in on the project repository of that information. In other words, let me look at all of you now. The Claude's projects is simply a repository for the information, and it's taking no real guidance or instruction. It takes a little bit, but Claude actually stepped it up a big time when it actually created the Claude Skills. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So we know right now that Claude has this repository called projects, as does ChatGPT, as does a lot of them. But Claude also has the skills. And if you go into, you could go back to this video anytime for reference, and you could always call me. But you go into settings and you could take a look at capabilities. What Claude actually has built out here is something called skills. And one of the things that I created within this was the St. Andrews CMA generator. Now, this took a ton of data. I put things like um, all the closings and what was currently on the market in the last year, what's currently on the market right now, and all the closings in the last year. And from there, you're able to use the skill. You can see that the skill gives generate professional comparative market analysis for St. Andrews Country Club properties in Boca Raton. Used when Edmund needs to create a CMA, analyze property values, prepare listing presentations, or provide
Share the
market
screen, Ed.
analysis for St. Andrews properties. So this is one skill that I have. Let me give you one
Should
other.
we be seeing this?
I'm sorry?
Can you share
Should
the
we be
screen?
seeing this? Yeah,
Oh
we
my
don't see
goodness.
it.
Thank you. Okay. Can everyone see it now? A yes or
Yes.
no would be
Yes.
nice.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, guys. Okay, so we got the skills. This is a CMA generator that I've actually created. And again, it's if I take an actual property, let me go here and I'll say using the skill CMA generator or generate for St. Andrew's Country Club, please make for 17657 Foxborough Lane. Um, it is a 4 bedroom, 4 bath, 1 half bath, 4,200 square feet on a decent lot. Decent is very ambiguous, but I'll show you why I put it that way in a second. Um,
Hey, Edmund,
yes.
if you were to do that in the project, in the 17657 Foxborough Lane project, then you'd probably avoid duplicating having to put that information because it's in
Yeah,
that
but
project.
my point is that I'm not doing that project. What I'm actually
Okay.
doing
Something
is
else,
a
right?
CMA for this particular area. There's a method to my madness, Mark, but
I I trust you.
yeah, thank you for pointing it out. Everybody loves to be corrected. I'm fucking with you. Okay.
I want you to do
So
the best you could be.
yeah. So, we're going to put it here. It's and I could say, ask me whatever you need to make this CMA. Okay, so now I've entered it in, and I'm going to show you how to actually create a skill in a minute. Incidentally, I bet you didn't know that you could open up multiple screens and have Claude or ChatGPT or any one of these tools write out. You could have them do multiple tasks at the same time. So if I opened up another window right now, which depending upon how long this is going to be, I may very well do. In fact, I think I am going to do that. This thing's actually stopping and thinking this through. It's taking a bit longer. Thanks for your patience. Of course, always when I'm in the middle of a presentation, it takes a while. Let me show you one another skill that I have in here is organized Palm Beach. That's my wife's business. And I could say, um, uh,
Ed, why aren't they skills turned on?
because you could have up to 5 skills at a time.
I see.
So I just had this off. Okay, so now the property confirmed 4 bedroom. What features? What is the current condition? So I could start to answer all these questions here. It's good condition, renovated 10 years ago, but everything was done and it looks great. Obviously, I'm doing this very quickly. Lot, it's non-waterfront. Um, Lot is 1/3 of an acre. Um,
It has a pool?
yeah, it has a pool. Thank you, Aton. I could always count on you. Listing context, is this listing presentation or buyer representation? This is listing presentation. Recent activity, any sales that should be aware of, please use sales entered into uh, your skill. Okay, so now let's see if it has any other questions for me. Perfect. Great. Now it's opening up what's called an artifact. It's reading the St. Andrews Skills CMA generator to generate a CMA. I'm going to pull over to you for just a second here. So What's going to go on right now is it's doing all the computing in the background. I'm going to show you how to create a skill in just a moment. But what's going on is it's going to come up with something that is damn close to perfect. It's not an excuse not to work. It's not an excuse not to actually focus on what you need to focus on. In other words, it's a very famous case now in Australia. I might have mentioned it in the last meeting where Deloitte had given the government of Australia a report, and it was entirely done by ChatGPT. It was hallucinated. In other words, all of the information was bullshit. It wasn't real. And they charged them $440,000 for that, which they promptly refunded once this story broke. I would encourage you to read that story because it just goes to show this is a big, well-known consultancy that actually does it. Certainly, a realtor is able to do this as well, which would not be so great. In any case, I want to keep you safe. Let's take a look at what this thing's come up with here. Okay, so now because I've actually put this thing, excellent, I'll analyze the market data and select the best comparable properties for 17657 Foxborough Lane. Let me work through the CMA process. So it has these.
Ed, it's not clear where it got the information as far as the
Okay, Eitan,
comparables.
if you would allow me to run the meeting without interrupting for a moment, this is my business partner, everyone, and he's a fucking asshole. So if you would allow me to go through this, I'd be grateful. Okay, you do that a lot. So we have here the information that was already entered into the into Claude Skills, and it's going to take all that. Here are some of the things: 7351 Ballantrae Court, Whitehaven Drive, as well as the what the proposed adjustments would be for, and it came up with a suggested price of $3,095,000. Aton is correct. I've yet to share with you where this information came from. I'm going to do that in just a moment. The point of the story here is that you're going to be able to work with the AI similar to how you work with an assistant or anyone side by side and be able to update this. What's missing? The CMA doesn't necessarily know the difference or the price valuation of the fact that across the street of this property, which is actually my home, um, is the Florida Turnpike. Well, the homes that abut the Florida Turnpike, by definition, are going to be worth less than the homes on the other side of the street. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that there's a different valuation that the CMA might not understand. But when you actually go in and create um, a skill, you're giving a set of instructions that it will be able to follow. Now it's my job to iterate through this and say, wait a minute, here are some adjustments that you could make, and you could then readjust this and put this into any particular format that you want. Let me go back to this just for 1 second, and I promise, Aton, um, I will get to some of the good stuff here for you. Okay. Please create this in an artifact. An artifact is an actual uh, is a workspace that's within Claude. So please create this in an artifact and make this CMA with graphs and charts uh, as directed by skill. Okay, so we're going to get that up there. This is going to bake for a little bit. And now, as Eitan pointed out, there is a means of teaching the skill. Let me just show you one other skill that I opened up here. Um, Using the skill for organize Palm Beach, please write a proposal to a homeowner in Miami Beach. It's a 4 bedroom condo, and the owner is named Betty. Smith. Again, I'm just being very bland here. Um, please remember rules about pricing. So now here's a very different kind of CMA. It's going to go in and take a look at the skill set for organized Palm Beach, again, my wife's business, and it's going to look at the rules of pricing and it's going to come up with the proposal based on where we are. This should be a little bit easier. Now, following the rules, pricing 25% travel surcharge to Miami Beach, and all of this stuff has actually been programmed in. And here the proposal is done. So, proposal for professional organizing services. Dear Betty, thank you for reaching out about, where is this thing? Here we go, about organizing your four-bedroom condo in Miami Beach. I'm pleased to present you with this proposal for Sam Bogan's professional organizing services. About our services, it gives an about section. It gives her rate, 195 an hour, shopping and measuring, 97.50. Due to your location in Miami Beach, there's a 25% travel surcharge. Again, I'm in Boca, it's a little bit farther away. Documentation, if you'll allow us, we want to put you on our social media, the working environment. She asked that I put in 70 to 72 degrees. Some of these places could be 80 degrees. And my wife can't work in that type of temperature. So we put this in as a very simple proposal. And as you can see, this, unlike the CMA, gets cranked out immediately because all of the stuff, when you've taken the time to create the skill, you're able to see it. This thing, as on the other hand, the CMA is still working on it. Okay, now that I've thoroughly confused a lot of you, uh, I want to be able to go out there. The point that I want you to take away from this meeting is that a rule and a set of guidelines can be created within the CMA to get these within the skill set within Claude to get incredibly consistent um, outcomes. And once this actually produces, we will be able to take a look at that. What do we have questions so far? I'm talking too much. I'm sorry about that. Stumped?
You mentioned artifacts. I think you should also mention that it is shareable and publishable.
Yes, indeed. So you can publish an artifact. You could make it, you could turn an app into it. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. I am just trying to break this down for everyone. But yes, Eitan does have a good point. Mark, go ahead. Mark, tell everyone who you are and where you are, please.
So, good morning. I'm Mark Lawrence in New York City area, Long Island. That's because I missed the city. But I am in the long time in the title insurance business and a long time friend and of Edmund's. Basically, Edmund, with this, it's you're kind of creating certain templates by essentially pulling together the information and other stuff that could be scattered on your, whatever AI you're using, be it Claude or ChatGPT, and kind of packaging them together to use, to create, different templates. And I assume too, if this is beyond somebody's scope, well, they could either engage you to
They
do that
could.
for them or Aton. And because again, some people, might need the help, it's definitely obviously you're pretty advanced with using these, but people might know what they want. Here, I'm selling another service for you. But if they want to, create certain templates, they can either engage you for coaching or to, set up those templates or those skills or, for them.
Certainly, yes. And certainly, just remember this. If you can envision it, the first thing I want all of you to do is actually have a target to shoot for. Without a target, we're doing nothing here. So I put two out there for you. One of them is my wife's need for a proposal. By the way, it'll do the same thing for, at the end of the day, my wife gives me a piece of paper. Where is this thing? Yeah, she gives me a piece of paper with her hours on it, with whatever she does. I mean, again, I manage her business for her back end, and I could actually photograph the hours that she put in here, send it into the AI, and because she's got pretty good handwriting, it gets it perfect almost every time. I mean, I'm able to check and make sure that these are the right hours, and then I'll take those hours and I'll put it into the Claude skill, and boom, it'll create an invoice for me.
Right.
And it
So
will
essentially, this is about automating tasks.
it's about automating repetitive tasks and getting some
Mhm.
type of consistency in the voice and tone that you want, which again, we're going to go through here. In the meantime, that just to show you how long these things sometimes take, this is still the CMA being worked on. Thank goodness you could do other things in the background, but it's still in the process of coding out what I hope will be a pretty decent CMA. Now, again, I didn't give it that much information, and it's going to be fraught with issues because of that. But as for the realtors who are in this meeting, what I want you to do is create a CMA a day to be able to stop and think through who can you actually approach and what other data you could put in about that person. One of the things that I've got in the skill is a chance to put in that person's social media, uh, that person's bio, some interesting information about the homeowner, and then it will give great context about the guy. You know, dear Mark, I know that you were a lawyer and you live in New York and you've been working in this. I think we have these people in common. It's with this in mind that I wanted to reach out to you about your home, 1234 Banana Street. As you know, 3456 Banana Street just sold for X amount of dollars, and I'm very curious to meet with you. Here's what I think the home's valued at, and it will come up with a whole thing for you. Again, I'm waiting
Yeah, I tried
on
actually to do something like this yesterday, actually, because a lot of times I'll send email introductions to two people. So I asked it to come up with a catchy name, Mark Match, with a little logo and template of, what essentially it would say when I was making an introduction from one person to the other. A lot of times, actually, I'll just copy and paste their bio so they could pull out, some information and then, something that I may add personally about the person. Oh, you two both live on Long Island, so you should meet. So I try to create a template from that. And with respect to the title company, we've actually had a full-time AI person for about 2 years. What he's doing is like something on surveys of properties. We've basically taken survey readings and our surveys and then our interpretation of them, and we've taken a database of, hundreds of them and fed that into one of the AIs. And essentially now we have a survey reading template or skill, or, depending on which application you're in. And as when we showed that to the people that work in our survey department, they all said, great, now you've eliminated our jobs. But that's not true because, as Edmund said, they have to be quality checked and you're making their jobs easier. But, yes, the repetitive task can really be, done very well here.
and as you were saying it, the CMA was completed, and I'll just show you here. Now I'm going to want to update the screen a little bit. It doesn't look as pretty as I'd like. Prepared by Edmund Bogan, the Edmund Bogan team, Douglas Elliman Real Estate, specializing in South Florida luxury real estate, Miami Beach to Palm Beach, St. Andrews Country Club member. I could change any one of these things, but it's an 11-page CMA. It gives an overview. Let me make it a little bit bigger. An overview of the property, the value consideration, the recommended list price. Again, what I may or may not agree with this list price, by the way. It talks about what I said before, 2015 renovation. I didn't say 2015, I said 10 years, and it actually did the math for me. Market position, the subject property is positioned in the 2.5 to $4 million price range, which represents the most active segment of St. Andrews market, 16 sales in the past 12 months. So because we were able to get all this information into it, it gives you all these little things up, and we're seeing some code here. So this has to be corrected the second time around. As I said to all of you, this is not an excuse not to work. This is just I put this together in 2 seconds just for the point of this meeting. So I would have to say, get rid of these codes in my next iteration, and it would. Um, and it gives some unique selling points. Eitan pointed out the pool. Then again, we have to get rid of some of this code here, but once it gets cleaned up, it actually gives the comparables, and it does a fairly good job of getting this out. Oh, here we go. So it's got actual graphs and charts as well that this will create, which I love, and people tend to like it as well. Um, Once again, not an excuse not to look and check out the price. New construction, $1,205 a foot. Recent renovations, $1,100 a foot. I think it's important to actually look this through, particularly if it's in your farm area. I'm a proud farmer, and I really want people who sell real estate, or any business for that matter, to try and get themselves to be famous to 1,000 homes. If you could do that, you're going to have very consistent business, which I think is which is important. Um, so it gives you all the stuff here, and I think again, if you guys want to talk about it or give, work out a CMA or some type of plan for your area, we could certainly talk about that and how you could go about making it. The easiest way to do this is literally to take a data dump from the MLS, and I'll show you that now. Do we have a hand up? Okay. So great. If I wanted to actually do a data dump from an area, I could do saved, and I could take a look at my saved searches. And let's take a look at Stonebridge Country Club. I'm going to create a new skill here. So Stonebridge Country Club, I've got all these, look at all these listings there. That's great. I'm going to go into Claude and I'm going to show you how to build a skill. I promise that this is a method to the madness for all these AIs. I'm going to go into settings, and one of the things that it has under capabilities, and Aton asked why I'm turning these things on and off. I don't need organized Palm Beach right now, so I'm turning that off. But I'm going to turn on, see this, it says skill creator. So it's got a skill to create skills. That's good to know. Now I'm going to go into Stonebridge and I'm going to take all the data here. Oops. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say, using the skill creator skill, I know that's a little wordy, please create a CMA skill for the Stonebridge Country Club. I am going to enter the current listings as well as the closings in the last 12 months. I will also enter some info about me and my company. Do you understand? If so, please simply say input. Okay, spelled simply wrong. And it's going to think about it. And it's going to say input. Great. So first set of data that I'm going to put in, it actually makes it as an attachment. This is what's currently on the market there. Great. I could leave that. I'm going to go back here. I'm not going to do what's active. I'm going to go in and find what's closed. And now in the last 12 months, let's see, 11/19/24 to now. That's great. Great stuff. So let's take a look at the list in the same format as what's currently on the market. And once again, big data dump. I'm just going to take all of this and I'm going to now put this in and say, great, here are the closed listings. I will add more data as well. Please say input when ready. Okay, and that adds it as an attachment. Now it's got to think about it. Input, great. Now, what do we actually do that's next? Well, you could actually make one AI make information about for another AI. And I'm going to say into ChatGPT here, I am making a skill in Claude Skills. You can look that up, um, which is helping me generate CMAs in a particular community, Stonebridge Country Club. Please produce context about who I am, my team, my company, and Stonebridge so I can add as instructions to Claude Skills. And now if it does it right, and again, guys, here you go, Edmund, structured and written exactly in the format. So it knows the format that we want to do. Who is the user? Edmund Bogan. It's giving me all this great information. Guys, I'm powering through this. I mean, we're really going through this very, very rapidly. So I want you to recognize that if I was doing this for something that, if Dean and I were going to go out and get more business with this, we would want to do a little bit more research and make sure that this is being done properly. I'm just merely showing you how quickly you could come up with all this stuff and how quickly you're able to actually produce it. Not an excuse not to work. So just because I'm doing it quickly now doesn't mean that you should. It means that we should definitely take some time. Okay, so it's produced all of this here. That's great. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say, I'm going to input that. And now I'm going to say, please create the skill now. And what it's going to do is follow these instructions from the skill generator in Claude. And it's going to actually create a skill centered around Stonebridge Country Club. Now, guys, I've spent less than 5 minutes putting this together. Again, I can't stress this enough. You really do need to work, especially in the initial phases of this, to be able to get this right. So Alicia, who's in St. Petersburg, may work a community that I don't know about. And she may want to map it out and come up with all sorts of stuff, all sorts of extra things that are going on in the neighborhood. Time of year, traditional culture. Maybe there's something going on over Christmas. So anything that could add more context would be helpful. Dina, go ahead. You had your hand up. You're still muted. No,
Yes, sorry.
no
I
worries.
I had a quick question. Is there a way when you put in your community to constantly have it updating? I know, you're in an active community, I'm in an active community. Is there a way to tell Claude, you've put in all this information for St. Andrews or for my community, for Seven Bridges? Is there a way to tell Claude, every day, reach out and see if there's any new closings or something like that? Or every single time you create a CMA, you need to re-update that information. I'm just curious, like, is there a way for it to look for new information itself?
The
Is
short
that possible?
answer,
And also,
the,
I'm sorry, one other quick
okay.
question. Can you please define the word artifact as you use it? Because I've heard you use it. Obviously, I talk to you a lot. We talk about this a lot. You use the word artifact, and I'm not always sure exactly what artifact means as Claude or ChatGPT actually understand it.
Okay, so for Claude, Artifact is essentially a workspace. It's a separate environment, if you will, that you could actually look at and see it writes code in it. It is a shareable space that if you could actually make a report. My weekly report that goes out is done on an artifact. It's actually now I'm doing it a little bit differently, but I used to just do it on an artifact. You're able to actually show code, make an app. It's a shareable space that's able to format and share data with you. ChatGPT has something very, very similar. And of course, now I'm having a senior moment. I'm forgetting what they're actually calling it. Eitan, you know what they call it in ChatGPT? What they call the artifact? Anyone? Okay, I'm going to look it up in a minute. But I'm just so
I think
used to using
it's I think it's Canvas or Codex or
Canvas.
something like
Thank
that.
you. Jorge, he
Yeah.
saves the day. So ChatGPT has Canvas, which is pretty much the same thing as it is in Claude. It's just stuff, guys. I've always said you need to be the kid that plays with the toaster, that takes the toaster apart. That's what I want you to all do is try and play around with this a little bit to be able to see where you're going to win and how you're able to use it. By the way, let's just go back to our little CMA thing here. So it's still creating that skill. You see this? So it's still creating the skill for us. And it goes through this for quite some time. So, initially the setup, I'm going to put this in and create it, and then we're going to give a demonstration of how this will work. But it's even saying create the charts, price trends by square foot, days on market. It's doing what it thinks it should do for a CMA. I could change this if I want, I can manipulate it. But I think the time that you spend early on programming this stuff and putting it together, and again, as somebody pointed out earlier, we'll be happy to do that with you to be able to get yourself set up. But once it's done, boy, it's poetry because you're going to be able to work it over and over again. And Dina, to answer the question about whether it could pull the information, yes, it can pull the information online. Yes, it's also a little bit more confusing. I think for the purpose of this meeting, is there a way that we could connect what's called the API or the doorway into one to be able to get the information out? Sure, it's totally possible. But for the purpose of this meeting, given how many steps there are, I think that that's going to be um, a more advanced approach. But this stuff is rapidly changing, and I think it's important for all of you to see that. Let me just show you a couple of other things about consistency here. If we go into Gemini, no, rather Google, we have Notebook LM, and we take a look. Okay, so what I created was, off the workbook that all of you should have. I went into this. This is a product by Google. And the workbook that we have, you can see over here, AI Consistency Workbook PDF. All of you have it. Eitan's been passing it out to everybody. And I actually put this in here, and you could have a conversation about what's going on in that workbook, which is kind of cool. More importantly, I could generate a conversation or a podcast based on this information. Have a listen.
Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, if you're a
Can you
professional
hear?
who relies on AI for the high stakes
Say
stuffed
something.
client
Yes,
emails,
yes.
Yes.
research summaries, content that really represents your brand, you know that feeling.
Oh, I do.
You open the output and you just think, ugh, this is close, but that was just wrong. You use a prompt that worked perfectly at 9 in the morning, and then the exact same prompt at 2 p.m. gives you something totally unusable, a weird tone, broken formatting.
Yeah, that phenomenon actually has a name. It's called the AI frustration tax. And that tax, it's
Okay, so I won't play the whole thing here for you, but what you're getting out of this is now, you had a great meeting with me, you learned all this great stuff. You take the workbook, put it into Notebook LM, create a podcast, and when Zainab goes off on her merry way driving today, she could listen to that in the car and actually hear it out. Greg, go ahead, tell everyone who you are and where you are, please.
Greg Poggins in Charleston, South Carolina.
Great.
So I believe one time before one of these podcasts, you had your own voice um, inserted into the podcast. They quoted you. Am I confusing you with somebody else?
No, I don't think I use Notebook LM with my own voice, but I've certainly had my fair share of clones.
So if I did an audio file, with a comment related to the topic that the podcast is creating, and added that into Notebook LM, would it insert it into the podcast?
If you had an audio file of yourself,
Yeah. So if I create a quote like I'm the expert
mhm.
and and inserted it as an audio file, would the hosts, the guy and gal doing the podcast, insert it into the podcast?
It wouldn't insert.
Oh,
Would it insert your voice? Is that what you're asking?
right,
No, it
right.
wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Okay.
There's it, and exactly Again, the short answer is you could do anything today. I've never done that. I never created an automated voice. I know that one of the things, there's a service called uh, it's an audio AI. Um,
11 Labs.
11 labs, thank you. I'm having all these senior moments here. So it's 11 labs where you're able to actually do something like that. But Greg, honestly, I haven't tried it much farther, beyond that at this point. I certainly have my own cloned voice with it, and I think all of us could. It's only $5 a month. It's no big deal. Um, what I'm trying to do is keep up with all the different changes to kind of give everybody what's going on. And yes, that's something that probably should be addressed at a future meeting, but not it's not something that I've done yet. Zainab, go ahead. And again, tell everyone where you are.
Hey everyone, I'm Zainab. I'm in Miami. So I love AI and I love coming to these meetings. I'm also a doctorate student at FIU and it's a doctorate in business administration, and everything was so abstract. I lean on Notebook LM I put all the notes in there, like you can put multiple notes at once, and then I have it create a video. Just watch the videos, they're so amazing, and it breaks it down into a way that even a kindergartner can understand. So you're like, okay, so those big, big words, this is what it was trying to tell me. It is such an amazing tool. I am in love with Notebook LM.
Good. Listen, thank you for sharing. I think that's great, great stuff. And we love having you, Zainab, and I'm glad that you were able to share this. Um, the skill is ready. Again, I feel like I'm in a baking show here. But so right over here, the CMA generator skill, what I'm going to do is click to download it, which I'll put right over here on the desktop. It's right over here. And now let me show you just briefly how you can to do this. You go into settings, you go into capabilities, and we can now upload a skill. And we're going to drag and drop that in. Let's hope that there's no formatting issues. And let's just see if we have it here. Skills, Stonebridge CMA generator. Great. So now the skill is actually active. And if we come up with a property, let's just do this one. And I'm going to remove the pricing from it. Or I'm going to actually remove the address. Let me show you what I mean here. I'm going to say, please, using the Stonebridge skill, can you do a CMA on this property? And I'm going to change the address just slightly. I'm doing that because I don't want it to reference itself. I'm going to take out the pricing here. And that should be enough. I mean, obviously, we're not going for perfect here. I'm just trying to get you to understand how rapidly you could produce this stuff. Again, I'm doing this in a very sloppy way, but when I sit down with Dina and Samantha, who both are actively working this community, and when I work with Dina on Seven Bridges or any community that we're doing, we can now focus in on this and get some of the real information, stuff that's going on in the club. I mean, to be able to have this reference that is huge. So here, it's taking a little bit longer. Let's let it cook. So there. If you look at AI as just exactly that, it's a baking show here that you're actually cooking various information. It will make this up, and you're going to be able to go and get some great stuff. Let me just see if there's any other pieces of news. Google Gemini just dropped 3.0. I don't know if anyone saw that. That's the latest AI tool within Google. It's really impressive. So I would take time to get to understand that. As Eitan and I unpack that, we'll be doing more reporting on that and what's going on. Perplexity, and all of you should have been to our meeting on agentic AI and all of the tools that are coming up, these agentic browsers. I also want to share one other thing. I'm certainly looking for everyone's feedback. Using AI, I created this. This is our new website. I would encourage you to have some fun with this here. You can see our AI auto assistant, 424-587-0840. This is an AI operator that's standing by 24/7, 365 to talk to you. We also added a chatbot feature. So if we want to actually chat about um, what's going on and how to actually schedule a call with me or get in touch. This is all in beta at this point. And I'm putting this out there just as a soft launch with all of you for you to go back and say, God, Ed, that really stinks. We need to fix this. Um, but I want to point out that this is something that I coded. I didn't get anyone's help. There wasn't any type of thing. We just put this together simply using AI. And we have a little bit about me, and we have a little bit about Aton. Yes, we were both enhanced with AI. Here's some tools that we've actually built. This actually shows the various chatbots and various platforms that we've worked on. Register now to join the meeting. All of this was really created using these AI tools. And I highly suggest again that you stop and think through. The first step with any one of these things is to decide, where do you want to go? Where's your pain point? Maybe it's an accounting issue. Maybe it's something very specific that you're working on for your church or synagogue or charity or mosque or wherever you might be celebrating. What can we do to actually make that experience just a little bit better? That's what we're constantly trying to figure out. Let me just see how it's cooking over here. Uh, okay, yeah. So this is here. I'll share the screen with you. This was the CMA for Stonebridge. Perfect. Now it's asking me some questions. What's the condition? Gut renovated. Looks great. Impact, windows, and new roof. Wolf oven and sub-zero uh, fridge. Um, is this for a listing presentation, estate, seller consultation? Let's make it for a buyer. Yeah, let's make it for a listing presentation. Listing, make this a listing presentation. Once you've, I'll collect the book. Yeah, okay, and please make graphs and charts to demonstrate your points. Okay, this is going to be fraught with issues because I haven't programmed it to be much better. Again, we're just doing this extremely quickly. Um, and when you want to put something together for your own uh, usage, we could talk about just what you need to specifically do to be able to highlight and direct this to make some great things. You saw what it could do. It built my website. It built all sorts of other tools. We're now able to dig in and take a look at all this. Okay, questions. What do we got going on? I need the sound effect of crickets. Does anyone have the cricket sound effect? No? Dirk? Thoughts? Nothing. Marlene? Mark?
It must exist in CapCut. I'm sure CapCut has crickets.
I'm sure, yeah, and it's you got CapCut, and sometimes I go to YouTube for the same effects. But that's it. I'm looking at this thing here. It's still creating the comprehensive rules here. Let me just see what else we're missing.
I have a question for you, Edmund.
Go ahead.
Do you sleep?
Do I sleep? Not much.
Yeah.
My wife always says to me that I'll be sitting on the sofa and I'll fall asleep from 10 to 11:30 and immediately wake up and then pull my laptop out and go back to what I was doing. And she's like, "How do you?" I mean, I literally go from off to on. It's weird. But yeah, no, there's a lot. Yeah. Why do I look too
Yeah.
tired?
No, not at all. You
Do
look
I look
great.
anything like this guy?
I don't know about that. But yeah,
Anyway.
no, I just
I
you.
actually was going to say that you look better in real life than your cartoon guy. You gotta this. Your cartoon guy has like a this, and you don't have it in real life. You got to
This,
tell him
no, I
to.
do. I
The
do.
You
cartoon guy
don't.
needs a
You
facelift.
don't.
This is my 57 years. This is what I have. I earned that. Um,
Oh, hush.
oh, hush. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Here, as you just so you could see while we're talking here, this is actually coding out an artifact that you could share about, and I'm going to share it with all of you, the Stonebridge presentation. Again, warts and all, but it's taking a lot of time to create something for you to see. And you're going to be able to direct it as to what you want it to look like. You know, one of the things that I created is a skill called the Edmund Bogan brand. Now, initially, my company, Douglas Elliman, a lot of you are not with Douglas Elliman, but I'm with Douglas Elliman in Florida. Love the company. Their marketing department created our logo and they created our colors and they created certain fonts. And I replicated a lot of that in Claude and I gave it as a skill so that I get some type of consistency throughout the views. So when you actually see when you look at today's workbook, that was done with Claude Code. That was done with Claude. We were able to actually put that together. That face that, you're not wrong. I don't look as good as I probably should. We're trying to, like Google makes a different um cover page almost on a daily basis. When it's Thanksgiving, they show a turkey. When Santa's coming, they show the Santa flying around or whatever it's going on. We're doing the exact same thing. My goal was to make slight changes to it. And again, this is going to evolve. I think one of the fun things about owning a business is that you're able to make certain changes and play around with it and see how that works for all of you. So that's what I do anyway. And this thing is still working on the code here. It's going to take a little while. Hopefully, it'll come up with something that's great. But what else? You know what? While this is doing it, let's get to wants, needs, and brags because I know we're running out of time here. I know this was a highly technical meeting, guys. Um, and I know that I probably geeked out on a lot of you. I do think that if you break it down slowly and watch it on the video, again, one other thing to show you here on the website, bogatai.com, we have this new section called for videos. So we're putting up the videos here. There will be logins and all sorts of other stuff going on with this. So right now, because nobody knows about this, we're not publicizing this at all. We're putting this right up here and you could actually watch the past videos on here, which is kind of neat. So that's there. But let's get to wants, needs, and brags. Now's the time in the meeting to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you'd like to brag about. Um, I've had a pretty good run with certain deals. Dean and I have something under contract right now, which is great. What's going on with you? Give us some good words. Could be anything. Tough crowd. Did anyone eat breakfast? I'm giving you absolutely any. This is a chance for you to toot your own horn. So come on, guys. Let's hear what you have to say. Marlene, nothing? No deals?
I'll ask a question.
Okay.
What AI are you using, or are you using AI for lead gen?
Um, what do you mean?
Lead generation, like to find new prospects.
I, there's so many different ways to actually use AI for that. I'm a farmer and I use this as a means of getting my reputation built within my community. So I've created AI avatars for myself. Dina has an AI avatar for herself. Samantha has an AI avatar for herself as well. And we take that content when the club, my community of 728 homes makes an announcement that a new restaurant just opened here. I'll have that as a reporter by Dina. Dina's actually dressed as a reporter in here.
Show us.
Yes, good idea. in. I'll be there in 1 sec, guys.
Okay, while we're waiting, I'm going to say hi, Marlene.
Hey, Zeynep. Lovely to see you.
So good to see you.
Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, this is fun stuff. So here, now we've done some
Don't meow at me. I want the order fixed and the extra cheese for a double veggie burger, no pickles, and you handed me one with onions and bacon. How is that even close? It's not funny. I paid for extra cheese and didn't get it. Don't meow at me. I want the order fixed and the extra cheese for a double veggie burger, no pickles.
Okay, so that was
No,
fooling
listen,
around.
for
So is
45
this.
minutes, out in the cold. You didn't care.
Next.
No, listen, I was freezing out there. You couldn't even look at me when I got here. At least give me the soup.
You complain, you get nothing. No soup for you.
Out. Are you serious?
aside.
Unbelievable. For 45 minutes, out in the cold. You didn't care.
That was paying homage to Seinfeld. Here's
November Lakeside officially opens this Saturday, November 15th. After successful soft openings, the team is putting on the final touches and thanks members for their incredible support. Join the 5 p.m. ribbon cutting ceremony with drinks and light hors d'oeuvres. Dining reservations are required, but ceremony attendance is Lakeside officially opens this.
So we have various tools that we're able to make.
Personal skills. If you want to improve your results, improve your interpersonal skills.
Some of these hit the cutting room floor, and some of these were widely used. But you know, it's pretty remarkable what you could do with these tools. And what I'm doing with St. Andrew's Country Club, we've got a website, a Instagram account called St. Andrew's Members. We're putting that up for people to actually go out, and it's for the adult members here and their adult children to be able to find news that's going on about in the club. When somebody sends out a piece, when the club makes an announcement about something that's going on, a dinner, a party or something, I'll take the Dina avatar or my avatar or Samantha's avatar. I want them to be well known here as well. And I'll put that up. And somebody came up to me and said, wasn't it the reporter that did the thing? I was out with Dina. She was at the club. Wasn't that the reporter that you have making the announcement? I'm like, yeah, it was. Why do I have to tell them? Yeah, that was it. Oh, wow. You're hanging out with the reporter. Yeah. Dina didn't even know I made the damn thing. But you're able to actually crank this stuff out. So I hope that gives you a little bit of juice to be able to see where this is all going. It's really a matter of deciding where you want to go with it. Okay. We're getting over time here. Anybody want to make any announcements? Anything that we should know about? We will be having the meeting next Wednesday. We do have Thanksgiving, but I don't know how many of you are going to be around. We're going to do that. We also have a whole lineup that's going to be planned for December, which we're going to be letting out to all of you. If any of you have questions, please do reach out to me. I am very curious to hear from you. And if you want to know more about the AI or any of the services that we're offering, please do let me know. And finally, if you could go to Bogan AI, play around with it, bogen.ai. I would welcome your feedback. It is in beta. It is not ready for prime time, but that's why I'm running it by you to be able to find the flaws, make some notes, send it into us, and allow us to iterate through all of that and fix it. So if you don't mind giving us some feedback, I would be certainly grateful. Okay? Sure, nobody has any fun things to tell us? No wins? Nobody got a listing? Anyone?
My mom had a really successful surgery after being in a lot of pain. She's all healthy now.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
It is.
That's
it is amazing.
That's the best time. Oh, look, and even Nicole gave you a heart there. That's very sweet.
Thank you, Nicole.
And Marlene gave you a heart. Okay, so not to be beaten. Look at Nicole and Marlene give hearts. We love that. And Zainab gives a heart. Okay, and you get a heart, and you get a heart, and I feel like Oprah. We're all getting hearts. Okay, guys, good to see everybody. I hope to see all of you next time for another exciting episode of Rain Nation. Take care.